Good morning. I'm Katie Yankosik. Thanks for joining me here today on The Grace to Recover. We're talking about Recover in Color, my workbook, which takes 1 year, 52 lessons of recovery for the year. And many of you are doing this book with a sponsor or a friend, and thank you for letting me be both of those to several of you. Keep your emails coming. I love what I'm hearing from you. Today we're on lesson 3 in the workbook called Allow It. And here's what you will color. Here's mine. Allow it. Yours, of course, will not be colored. You'll have to do that for yourself. Remember, this book is talk therapy, color therapy, and music therapy. And the song for this week is a fun little song by Jason Gray called I'm Gonna Let It Go. This lesson is very familiar to those of us in 12-step programs where we say, let go and let God. So this lesson starts out asking us an interesting question. Are you a control addict? Wanting to have your fingers in the outcome pie? Do you want to make things happen and also be guaranteed that your money, time, and emotions won't be wasted? Most of us do want to control things. We want to control all the things, and not just the things, but we want to control the people. And we feel, in a sense, that we could, and maybe it would be true, that we would cut down on some of our troubles, perhaps tremendously, if we could manage both sides of every relationship. But in fact, we have to stick to our side of the street. We can only manage our actions and our attitudes. Those are what we are fully responsible for. If we go back to trying to control things, we would want everybody to do things the way that we want them to do, according to our instructions. We would want to be the directors of our own little movie productions, our own lives. That would put other people as actors on our stage. We would feed them their lines, tell them where to stand and when to exit the scene. At the end of the day, everybody would take a bow as the audience cheered loudly. If only real life would go according to the invisible scripts that we have in our minds. Many of us play out scripts in our heads of what we think we should say, what we think the other person would say. Perhaps we hold back because we already anticipate what they would say. That gets us into trouble. The idea of allow it, this meditation of the week, that let go, stop trying to control things, be a person surrendered, be a person staying on your side of the street, working on your attitudes, working on your actions, allowing others to do what they need to do. So the lesson goes on to say, this week, remember, work these lessons for a full week. Don't get greedy and go ahead to the next lesson. You need a full week to work each lesson. This week, let's snap the filming clapperboard and say, take 2. In other words, let's start over. Let's surrender the outcome to God. Let go and let God. In other words, allow it. We capture the idea that whatever a person decides to do, despite us perhaps having a better idea or a better solution or a better course of action, we trust that they have their own journey to walk. No one is ever an actor on our stage of life, in our little screenplay. Each person is God's workmanship, created in God's image to do good works that God prepared in advance for that individual person. It would not only be foolish for us to think that we could control things, but it would be futile. We would cause resistance, and we would reduce that person. We would flatten out their opportunity for growth. And in a sense, it's saying to that person, I don't trust you. I now am telling you what to do. And in a way, it's saying to God, I don't trust you either. So we work on allow it. Allow it. You have to kind of marinate in that lesson. Allow it. We focus on ourselves. We focus on our responsibility. We seek God's action for us. We are a people of process, not outcome producers. We have to trust God with the outcome. I've heard it said that we pedal and God steers. Keep pedaling. Keep working on your side of the street. Keep working on your responsibility. Focus on yourself. And when we free ourselves up, we get freedom. We get more freedom through the Allow It meditation. When we stop trying to control everyone and everything, we feel free. And not only free, we get wisdom, because it is very wise to think that, to know that we're not in charge. That makes us wise. So we get freedom, we get wisdom, and also as a bonus, we get peace. We get peace. It's like a prize for accepting and allowing whatever will be, will be. It's the cherries and whipped cream on the top of the banana split recovery sundae. Peace, a peace within. Control is a mirage meant to control, to frustrate us and to confuse us. When we let go in full surrender with faith in God to guide and manage His agenda, we sigh a sigh of relief. If you open your eyes and find freedom, wisdom, and peace, and apply that Allow It concept this week, I want to hear from you and see what it's like. And you'll notice when it comes back over you and you have that urge to control again. By simply allowing it, you can dance in the sunshine or the rain, knowing that you control neither. If you think you control things, try to control the weather. Freedom and wisdom and peace will grant you the courage to allow those sunbeams or those raindrops to fall wherever they may. At the end, under personalize the lesson, the think. Remember, we take ownership over our thoughts. We renew our minds daily and how we're thinking about things. So think, it says, God is including me in His work, but God is the leader and I am the privileged follower. God's Spirit is a mighty force worthy of my trust. I relax in that truth. What a truth, what a sweet and simple truth that is. Feel. Even in times of great uncertainty, I feel cared for. Despite the unknown, I feel confident of God's plan. I release my need to control circumstances and people. And I want to take a minute and acknowledge a certain special person. My lighting is off today, but this sweet necklace was given to me at a retreat in Montana by my dear friend Veronica, and I miss you and love you and want to thank you for this and what it means in remembrance when I put it on and wear it. I feel very thankful to have done ministry with you, Veronica. Okay, back to our lesson. The last one at the bottom is do. So we think, feel, do. The action step for do is allow God to do the greater work in you and those in your life. Allow life to unfold. Allow it. Allow it. Keep repeating that. And the memory verse for this week for allow it is, for who has, it's kind of like a little healthy sarcasm, asking the question, for who has known the mind of the Lord, or who has become His counselor? And that comes from Romans chapter 11, verse 34. So for who has known the mind of the Lord? And it puts us back into a state of acknowledging our position as a follower, not a leader. Before I jump into our questions that go with this lesson for this week, I also wanted to just add this little thing that I've done that has helped me. And it is just a piece of paper that I folded and put God, self, others, and the world. And in the center, that idea of allow it. And so each day, I like to think of, am I surrendered to God? Am I focusing on accepting myself and allowing things to be where they are, no matter what that for that day? Am I okay with others? Do I have a peace and a wisdom about letting others be managed by God? And what about the world? Am I accepting even the smallest things? It's pouring down rain and freezing cold. Do I accept that? Can I be okay with it? Can I allow it? So this is a little bit of your peace, your wisdom, and your freedom are in the center of allowing all of these things to be what they are for that day, that one day at a time. Okay, now let's jump into the journal section for week 3. Getting in the sunlight here. The first question says, what does it mean to surrender your agenda to God? And how often must you do that? Some of us need a daily surrender, and some of us need like breakfast, lunch, dinner, before bed surrender, because we'll feel that rising anxiety. Behind the need to control is a fear. If you get in touch with control out front and you back it up, you're going to see that you are fearful of something, fearful of somebody misinterpreting something or making a misstep, or there's some tied up fear. I encourage you to put a tracer on it this week. When you notice you're trying to control things or work both sides of a relationship, identify what you're afraid of. Look for it, it's there, I promise you. Question 2, what internal barriers of resistance do you face when surrendering your agenda? This means that usually, I'll give you the example, usually that internal resistance is distrust. You distrust somebody, you distrust God, yourself, or other people, that you can't surrender. You just have to be the boss. You just have to say what you need to say. Third question says, what is something you can do this week to allow it? Meaning to let life unfold as it will. What is something that you can do? Would you be willing to make the paper and work on this concept this week? Are you willing to do that? Think about that willingness. Are you willing? Ask yourself. And the fourth and final question for the week of Allow It says, how does the statement, control is a mirage meant to confuse and frustrate us, apply to your own life? Have you tried to control things and ended up in that vortex of frustration and confusion? Write a little bit about that. And I've already mentioned the song, Jason Gray, I'm Gonna Let It Go. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being with me. Hope to see you over on the website and to get a couple emails about this lesson from you. Thank you so much, and God bless.